There is an uncomfortable truth people rarely talk about when it comes to friendship and human relationships. When you first meet someone, there is normally a certain level of respect between you. Neither person knows enough about the other to become careless. You don't know their insecurities, they don't know yours, and both of you naturally maintain a certain level of restraint. But that can change very quickly once familiarity sets in. You begin talking more. Personal things come up. Eventually, you start sharing problems, insecurities, embarrassing experiences, private opinions, and parts of your life that you normally keep to yourself. At first, this feels like friendship developing. It feels like trust. Sometimes it is. But sometimes, you are simply giving somebody more information about you than they have earned. And that can change the way they see you. A person who once chose their words carefully may eventually start making comments they would never have made when you first met. A joke that would have been considered disrespectful suddenly becomes acceptable because, in their mind, the two of you are close enough now. That is where familiarity can become a problem. People often assume that knowing someone better will automatically make them respect that person more. Unfortunately, human beings don't always work that way. The more comfortable somebody becomes around you, the more likely they are to stop filtering themselves. And once they know exactly what bothers you, what embarrasses you, or what makes you insecure, they have information that can either deepen a relationship or be used against you. Most people don't realize how dangerous oversharing can be until they experience it personally. You tell somebody about a difficult period in your life because you trust them. Months later, during an argument, that same information appears in the conversation as a weapon. You mention something you're insecure about, thinking you're simply being honest. Later, the person starts making little comments about it. You tell somebody about a weakness because you believe they understand you. Eventually, they begin treating that weakness as part of your identity. The painful part is that they didn't discover any of this by accident. You gave them the information because you believe closeness made it safe to do so. That is why privacy is not the same thing as being antisocial. Sometimes privacy is simply self-respect. Not everybody needs to know what you're going through. Not every colleague needs to know your personal problems. Not every new friend needs access to your insecurities. Some things can remain yours without making you dishonest or distant. There's also another side to this. The more familiar people become with you, the more they may begin to feel entitled to your time, your attention, and your tolerance. A person who once asked politely may eventually assume. Someone who once appreciated a favor may begin expecting it. A joke that was once carefully delivered may become an insult disguised as humor. And if you keep accepting it, the behavior becomes normal. I remember having a secretary who used to bring me lunch. There were several occasions when she would get the food, even though I had not asked her to. I would pay for it, of course, but the gesture itself was something she simply took care of. Eventually, we became much more familiar with each other. We talked about personal things, opened up about different parts of our lives, and naturally became more comfortable. Then one day she told me she had brought my food. I thanked her, and she told me to go somewhere else and pick it up myself. Maybe there was a completely innocent explanation. Maybe she was busy. Maybe circumstances had changed. I can't know exactly what was going through her mind, but the experience made me think about something important. Sometimes, when people become extremely comfortable with you, the way they treat you changes. And that doesn't necessarily mean they have suddenly become bad people. It may simply mean that the psychological distance that existed at the beginning is gone. The problem is that you may not like what replaces it. There are people who can handle that kind of familiarity without losing respect for themselves or the other person. There are also people who cannot. If you know that certain jokes stay in your head for days, if careless comments genuinely affect you, or if you become resentful when someone starts treating you too casually, then you need to be more careful about the level of familiarity you allow. This is especially important for people who care deeply about their self-respect. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to act superior. You don't have to walk around treating everyone like an enemy. But there is nothing wrong with keeping a little distance. You can be polite without becoming personal. You can be friendly without telling somebody your entire history. You can have a good conversation without handing them your deepest insecurities. You can work with someone for years without giving them access to every part of your private life. There is strength in knowing that not everything about you needs to be available for public consumption. And there's another uncomfortable reality. Once someone knows exactly what can hurt you, you cannot make them forget it. That information is out there. So be careful about confusing openness with connection. Real friendship doesn't require you to reveal everything immediately. Genuine relationships can survive boundaries. In fact, healthy relationships usually have them. Let people get to know you gradually. Give them enough access to discover your character, but don't give them every weakness before they have demonstrated that they can handle it responsibly. Because there's a difference between being respected and being familiar. Sometimes people respect you more when they know there are parts of you they haven't been given access to. That little bit of mystery creates restraint, and restraint matters. Once someone believes they know you completely, they may stop thinking carefully about how they speak to you. They may assume that because you've laughed together, shared secrets, or discussed personal problems, every boundary between you has disappeared. It hasn't. You are still entitled to respect. You are still entitled to privacy. And you are certainly not required to become so friendly with somebody that they eventually feel comfortable enough to disrespect you. So don't misunderstand the lesson. This isn't a call to become bitter, arrogant, or emotionally unavailable. It is a reminder to be selective. Not everyone deserves the same version of you. Some people can have your conversation. A few can have your friendship. And an even smaller number should ever have access to your vulnerabilities. That isn't hostility. That's discernment. Because the moment you give someone too much access, you also give them more opportunities to misunderstand you, take you for granted, or use something personal against you. Sometimes the best way to protect your self-respect is not to demand more respect from people. It's simply to give them less access to the parts of you that they haven't earned.